New month, new quarter, new financial year. Welcome to Compass Global Markets Weekly Update. I'm Tony Boyadjian. Well, the big mover in the foreign exchange markets over the past week, the big performing currencies were the sterling. Sterling dollar rose 2.4%, euro dollar rose 2.1%, and good old Aussie battler, the Aussie US exchange rate, was up by 1.7%, following really strong iron ore prices up 15% over the course of the week, and also some strong Chinese data as well, which I'll talk about in a moment. Now, we've seen US inflation ease to 1.4% per annum, and it's the slowest pace in 18 months. It's well below the Fed's 2017 target of 2%. In fact, we've been below that 2% threshold now for 5 years. President Donald Trump's inability to pass through his pre-election promises, such as the Mexican Wall, healthcare reform, tax cuts, and even the border repatriations that he promised, has seen the US dollar have its worst performance in the quarter, if you like, for over 7 years. Despite US economic weakness, it seems the Federal Reserve has raised interest rates 3 times in the past 6 months for the sole purpose of being able to cut them again in times of economic shocks or a recession. Now, when we look at the future outlook for interest rates in the US, it seems less accommodative now that the ECB, the European Central Bank, the Bank of England, and even the Bank of Canada have expressed rate hike talks. So soft US inflation will keep the US dollar weaker throughout the course of this week as the further pace of US interest rate rises now diminishes. So we've got some important economic figures out this week. On Thursday night, we've got the Fed's meeting minutes for the month of June, followed by Friday's June non-farm payrolls, the jobs data out of the United States. But the forecasts are for a rise of 175,000 jobs in June, but the market won't just focus on the jobs number. They'll be looking at the average hourly earnings figure, because the US economy is near full employment, so the jobs number is not as in vogue, if you like, anymore. They'll look at average weekly earnings as a better indicator of future direction of US interest rates, which will no doubt impact on the currency as well. Now, the Aussie dollar has been trending in that 75.50 to 77 cent range. It's been well supported by firmer commodity prices like iron ore. Australia's current account deficit has narrowed to 0.6% of GDP, and we've also seen some very strong Chinese manufacturing data. In fact, non-manufacturing PMI in June rose to 54.9, and the Cakeson manufacturing PMI data improved from 49.6 to 50.4, indicating that the Chinese economy continues to expand above that critical 50 level. And that also bodes well for the Aussie dollar. Now, today the RBA meets at 2:30 p.m. to discuss interest rates. We expect the interest rates to remain on hold at record lows of 1.5%, not just this month, but for the rest of this year. In fact, the market's only factoring in a 30% chance of a rate hike by June 2018. We saw some retail sales figures out today for the month of May. They were 3 times better than expected, at up 0.6% when the market was forecasting 0.2%, and that was retail sales figures. So elsewhere, we've seen the euro dollar benefit from a weaker US. We've also seen better than expected Eurozone inflation figures. This is going to keep the euro firm in light of the ECB's meeting on the 20th of July to discuss tapering of their asset purchase program. So we could see a quantum shift and move away from the negative interest rate scenario in Europe, and that could help support the euro dollar going forward. In the UK, overnight we saw some disappointing manufacturing data. It seems that the sterling pound will continue to lose ground whilst there's this upheld, if you like, in terms of sterling direction being ruled by what's happening in the political climate. We've seen currency pressures temporarily boost core inflation levels in the UK. The market is now pricing a 20% chance of a rate hike in the UK by as early as August this year. So watch this space for developments in that space. Don't forget to follow us every Thursday at lunchtime at 12:15 p.m. Follow us on Foxtel and Optus TV for Sky Business News, our weekly live and exclusive financial markets update on behalf of Compass Global Markets. Thanks for watching. Have a great week. I'm Tony Boyadjian.